Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kathy Campagna, and I am a National Marketing Director with the Juice Plus Company. And I've had the honor and privilege of taking Juice Plus products for about 14 years now. And I just really appreciate you guys taking the time coming to learn a little bit more about Tower Garden today. Super excited to share with you guys about that. So let's go ahead and get started. So Tower Garden by Juice Plus. Woohoo! All right. So it all starts with my story. So let me just share a little bit with you about how I got started with the Juice Plus Company. And it all started really with my husband, Rick. You'll see a picture here. If you're dialing in, I can get you the recording so you can come back and look at the slides here. But this is a picture of my husband, Rick, and I at a recent trip that we took. We camp with our horses a lot. And this was a trip to Montana de Oro to the beach. And it was a really exciting time to be able to ride our horses along the beach. And, you know, this moment may not have been possible if it had not been for Juice Plus. It'll be 14 years ago in December. My husband, Rick, he was 50 years old at the time, was told he had some calcification on his heart and that they recommended that he follow up with a cardiologist, which he did. And he went in and did a treadmill test, a nuclear dye treadmill test, and did really well on the treadmill part. He was very physically fit. He's a former Marine. He's ex-cop, so he, took very good care physically of his body. So he did really well on the treadmill, and then was in the tube at rest while they were taking some images of his heart, as it recovered. And he had a massive heart attack in the imaging tube. And, by the grace of God, he literally was across the parking lot from our local hospital. And, they got him over to the hospital right away. And he actually ended up having 100% blockage in his heart. And we almost lost him at that time. And he ended up having not six, oh my goodness, that would be terrible. But he still was bad. But he ended up having 3 more massive heart attacks in a 6-month window. And, he had 2 95% blockages and a 90% blockage. And that's when we really started to learn the difference between being nutritionally fit and physically fit. We were physically fit, but not nutritionally fit. And a dear friend of ours told Rick about Juice Plus. And, he knew my husband traveled a lot. He didn't eat the greatest, had some genetic component to that as well. But he just knew that Juice Plus made sense to him. So he told Rick about it. And he's just like, it's just fruits and vegetables and berries in a capsule. It's just, these whole food concentrate, basically. Give it a try. It's certainly not going to hurt and it might actually help you, right? So Rick got started right away. It just made sense to him. He was excited, like fruits and veggies and berries in a capsule, like awesome. And, again, we thought we were eating well, but clearly we weren't. So this really helped us bridge the gap from what we were eating, what we should have been eating every day. I was kind of skeptical about it, to be honest. And so I was not taking Juice Plus, the capsules that you see pictured here right away. But I was doing the complete shakes that you see in the background there that comes in chocolate and vanilla, and they're amazing. There's like 25 full foods in there. I'm not a breakfast eater, still not a breakfast eater, but I love my shakes. I'm actually drinking one right now. Love them. My favorite's chocolate with the little peanut butter and banana in it. I've been drinking those pretty much every day, and some days I drink 2 a day. I just love them. I use them for breakfast and lunch most days. So, but during that time, I'm kind of checking out Juice Plus while Rick was taking it and really looking at the research on Juice Plus. And whoever invited you to this call today can get you more information on Juice Plus products and as well as the research. But the research is what really got my attention because, gosh, here's the thing. I try not to cry at this part because what had happened is, Rick was having his heart attacks, taking Juice Plus, having really good benefit from that. But because I was so skeptical and I was not sharing with anybody, I lost my dad. I lost my dad to a massive heart attack. And, he was like 58 years old, literally died an hour after eating McDonald's. Again, high fat meal, what happens to our arteries and, after we eat these high fat meals. And during that time, I'm looking at these studies on Juice Plus, and there happened to be a study on the protective benefit for the arteries with Juice Plus after a high fat meal. And here was something that Rick was taking, having great benefits, but I didn't share with my own dad. So that's how I started sharing Juice Plus, because it was a bit out of guilt that I wished I'd had the opportunity to share with my dad, but it was also to honor my dad and to make sure that, if I could help any other daddies, I was going to do it. So I was on a mission to save all the daddies when I first started with my Juice Plus journey. And now, it's really to really save the world because we really need it. So that's kind of how we got started with Juice Plus, the company, and the products. And then, gosh, I want to say it's been about 5 years now. I kind of lose track of time. But I think it's been about 5 years ago now that the Tower Garden concept was brought to our company. And it was just such a perfect fit because people that are taking Juice Plus and drinking the shakes, they really, they want to eat more vegetables. That's what just happens when we eat Juice Plus. It changes your metabolism. So you're kind of craving those things a little bit more. And then people want to, know where their food comes from and things like that. So when this concept came, I was excited about it, but I was also really, really scared. And Rick was really skeptical about it because he knew that I still, to this day, cannot grow a house plant. I just cannot grow things. I guess I could if I really, really worked at it. But I just don't have the time. I either overwater, underwater, not enough sun, not enough nutrients. I don't know, too much nutrients. There's just too much involved for me. So I don't even bother with that anymore. But when this concept came, I was just like, okay, you know what? Here's the deal. I told him, I was like, I got to be able to put it together myself. I got to be able to grow in it myself. I've got to have my own experience. And we talk about that with Juice Plus products, the Juice Plus experience. I think that's really important for me to, have that experience so I could, share with people and tell them, what works, what didn't work, that sort of thing. So, so I got started with the Tower Garden. My first one, I got a basic tower, which holds 20 plants, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But so I was like, what is a tower garden? Like, again, I know growing in the dirt, and that's the kind of gardening I knew, but I didn't know about this aeroponic gardening. So a tower garden it's a hydroponic aeroponic growing system, going vertical. So you're going up. You can grow 20 to 28 plants in a 2.5 foot diameter space, which is super cool. It uses all natural mineral growing tonic, and we call it our Tower Tonic. I always tell people it's a secret sauce. Like the Tower Garden is kind of mechanics, right? But really it's that nutrient solution that is really what excites me, because that's what our plants are eating. It's developed by a gentleman named Tim Blank, and I had a conversation with him one time, and he said, and it kind of gave me that analogy. He's like, well, the tower itself, that's mechanics, and it's a beautiful, state-of-the-art system. But he said it's the nutrients that were really important to him. And he was very adamant about this when he developed this technology, is that he wanted to not just grow food, but grow nutrient-dense food. So you think about that. If you're growing your own garden or you're buying produce in the store, you're buying organic, I hope, to eliminate some of the toxins to your environment. But the thing is, you don't know what your plants are eating. You don't know how nutrient dense those foods are, right? And even best organic practices, if you know how to, do all that and amend your soil and, composting and all that, it's still very difficult to know what your plant is uptaking and what they're, what is running off in the water. So I think that's really cool. And I really appreciated that that was an important thing for him, because that's what Juice Plus is about, right? It's about getting good whole food nutrition in people. So again, kind of just a perfect marriage when this Tower Garden came around to our company. And now it is part of our company. So why Tower Garden? Why now? I'm in Southern California, so I don't know where you're all coming in from today, whether you're dialing in or on live on the video side of things. But I'm in Southern California, and we have a serious drought issue here. We did have some rain a couple weeks ago, which we desperately needed, but it's definitely not enough. Our farms, our agriculture has been really impacted, more Central California. I recently drove through there, and it's very devastating to see, just fields and fields of dead crops. So, and just everything's dry. So, I think that's a really important time right now that we're bringing Tower Garden concept in so many ways, from growing in your kitchen to your patio to schools. There's so many different variations, right? So there's just this explosive interest in gardening right now. People want to know where their food comes from. They want to know what's on their food. They want to grow their own, but maybe they don't have the space. Maybe they don't have the time. There's this huge locavore movement. Local farmers markets. Know your local farmer. Buy from your local farmers markets. Know where your food is coming from. And it's really being driven by media as well. I mean, the media is really telling our story. That's where Juice Plus comes into, and Tower Garden. But just bottom line is that, as a nation, we're getting sicker and sicker, and food is our medicine. So, we need to eat as much as we can, and Tower Garden is going to help you do that. So Tower Gardens in the media, I mean, I get comments all the time. People message me like, oh my gosh, Kathy, did you see Tower Gardens are on the news, wherever, up in Seattle or in Texas or wherever. All these different news media are covering Tower Gardens, which, I mean, is great, right? Free advertising for us, which I love that. But it's really cool. I know even for me and here in Southern California, I think, gosh, we've been on the news at least 4 times that I can recall off the top of my head. So I just love that. And, from big news, networks, ABC News, CNN, and New York Times, it's been, written up in several articles to several like daytime talk shows, like The Balancing Act on Lifetime. And if you're dialing in, you're not gonna be able to see this particular picture, but we have here a picture of Tower Gardens in Chicago O'Hare Airport. They're popping up everywhere, you guys. Restaurants, like I said, in schools, just everywhere. It's kind of neat. We have a homeless shelter that is using them as well. And again, back to, your own back porch, to your kitchen, wherever you want to grow them. So I just think that's pretty cool that we're growing fresh produce in O'Hare Airport, right? How awesome is that? And just recently, our Tower Gardens even made a trip to the White House. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So why aeroponics? And what is aeroponics anyways? I like to explain aeroponics as this. It's just air. It's the oxygen side of things. So I a lot of times when I talk to people about Tower Gardens, I'll say it's hydroponic because most people know that terminology, hydroponics. But really, it's hydroponic and aeroponics. It's really technically an aeroponic growing system. And what that does is it comes with a timer system. So every 15 minutes, your plants get watered. And then every 15 minutes, they're getting oxygen to the roots. So that's really important. If you've ever grown like a plant in a pot, for example, and you put too much water in there and then it kind of rots at the bottom, right? It just gets waterlogged. And the same thing would happen with a Tower Garden if we just kept the water on all the time, or any kind of garden if it was just being watered too much. So it's really important our roots get oxygen to the roots. So why aeroponics? It's safe and ecologically friendly. It's a clean system. I love that. Like I said earlier, no dirt, right? No weeds. The plants grow stronger and they're healthier. And again, that comes back to the nutrient solution and the system itself. Again, the plants are being fed really good nutrients, so they're going to be stronger, just like our own bodies, what we feed ourselves, right? If we feed ourselves well, we're going to be stronger. Our immune system's going to be stronger. And same for our plants. A healthy plant is going to be a tastier plant. It's going to grow faster. It's going to be better at defending off bugs and insects, that kind of thing, because the bugs are usually attacking weak plants, which I think is kind of interesting. Just like our own bodies, right? When our immune system's down, what happened? We get the cold bug, the flu bug, and higher yield. So things are growing faster. So you're getting, more bang for your buck that way. And then, of course, you're just growing more plants. Stronger, healthier plants and a higher yield. Tower Garden makes gardening environmentally friendly, and that's what I was talking about earlier. So, like I said, for example, in California with the drought here, and I know this is actually people across the nation are being affected by the weather conditions. Tower Garden uses less than 10% of the water of a traditional dirt garden. And that's huge because we're recycling the water. The bottom reservoir holds 20 gallons of water. You add your nutrients to it, you check your pH, all that comes with it. Super simple. And then it pumps up through the center and it just recycles that water around. So whatever your plants are uptaking, and there was a slight amount of evaporation, but you're recycling that around. And that's pretty cool. And you're using less than 10% of the land. Like I said earlier, you're only using a 2.5 foot diameter space. So your footprint is very small, but yet you can grow 28 plants in that 2.5 feet diameter space. That's pretty awesome. So, we are running out of land and to grow our crops, and then the water, and this is such a brilliant solution. And you can grow indoors or outdoors with them, and you can control what you're putting on them. You're controlling the pesticides and herbicides, and whoever invited you to this call today can get you information on some of the things that we're using organically, to protect our plants as well. But I love knowing that I know what goes on my plants and in my plants, and the Tower Garden is brilliant for that. So it makes things easier. Tower Garden just makes gardening easier. Like I said, I don't have that green thumb. I did have a big garden when I lived up in Oregon, and I'll tell you, it's a lot of work. We were out there having to till the soil, amend the soil, pull wheat, plant all the seeds in nice little rows, go out there and, amend the soil, and then pulling weeds. I hated pulling weeds. We had tons of weeds out there. And then you had to worry about the bunnies and the squirrels and, everybody eating all your plants, and, you'd wait all this time and you go out there and everything was mowed down by some bunnies or some critters. So tower garden's super easy to put together, you guys. Remember, like I said earlier, like I told Rick, I have to be able to put it together myself. So it literally, it's like Legos. You just like stack the sections on top of each other. The basic tower garden has like 5 sections. So there's like 4 plants in each section, 4 little holes, and you see pictured here, like the little net pots. So, 4 times 5 is 20, right? So you can grow 20 plants in a basic tower. You can add on an extension piece and add 8 more plants and literally just stack them together. And there's metal support rods in the center to protect, from wind and things like that. No tools required to put the tower garden together. There is a dolly system, which I totally recommend. And that's basically just a really nice set of wheels that the tower garden sits up on top of so you can move it around. That does require 1 tool and just a socket set, and that's it. So they're pretty easy to put together. And I do like those wheels, by the way, because once you add water to that reservoir, it's a couple hundred pounds, with your tower. So you want to be able to move that around. So very easy to put together, easy to maintain, again, because it's a clean system, right? I go out probably once a week to my tower, sometimes more, but at least once a week. I usually on the weekends is my time. I go out there and I check my water levels, make sure my water's up high, check my nutrients and check my pH. And then, go around and kind of do if there's any little bugs, I do some gardening, harvesting, that sort of thing. And just kind of check on things. And that's it. I mean, I love it. Rick and I, we went on that vacation that you saw the picture at the beginning to the beach with our horses, and I didn't have to worry about my garden. I had to have somebody taking care of my animals when I was gone, but my garden was taking care of itself. So that's pretty cool. So no dirt, no weeds, it waters itself. It's less climate sensitive as well. So in Southern California, we're pretty blessed. We can grow year round around here for the most part. So, well, we do, especially in tower gardens. But you think of a traditional dirt garden, if, it gets really hot where I live, we can be in the hundreds, during the summer. So if I'm growing in a traditional dirt garden and it gets really, really hot, what happens to the soil, right? The soil's going to heat up. It's going to heat at my roots. My plants are going to wilt. I'm going to be out there watering, 3 times a day, all this water that's going to get evaporated and, run off in the soil. So with tower gardens, and, that same example, it's 100 degrees out. What's going to happen, remember that timer system is going 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off, is that water is going to be hitting those roots every 15 minutes and keeping the roots cool. So that's pretty awesome. So that the plants just don't get as stressed out in the weather. And then again, saving water, right? And then you're also going to have the same situation when it's really, really cold. If you're growing in the ground and, it's freezing, 20 degrees, you're going to have a problem, right? Your plants are going to freeze, your roots are going to freeze, your plants are going to die. So with the tower garden, that water in a sense is keeping them warm. And we even have a heater system that you can throw in there. It's just like a little heating tube. If you want to heat up the water, there's a blanket that you can put over them if you need to, if you're growing, in New York in the snow, that sort of thing. So we have less climate sensitivity, so a longer growing season. And like I said earlier, you're going to be growing faster. So faster, and you're going to higher yield, of course. And tower gardens help you grow good health. Think about it when, last time you went to the store and bought a tomato, for example. Rick and I just went to the store the other night because I didn't have very many tomatoes growing on my tower garden, what I needed for a recipe. And the tomatoes look terrible in the store, you guys. I don't know about you guys where you're at, but it was kind of a pinkish color. It wasn't even red. And it had absolutely no taste. And really what happens, and if you've grown your own tomatoes, you guys, it's like the best thing ever. They taste amazing. Just pick them right off, right? Vine ripened. That's when a lot of the nutrition happens, is at those last stages of the growing system. But what happens is that, our grocery stores and things like that, they have to pick them early to get them to last so they don't rot, right? So if you're buying, vine ripened, locally grown, organic produce, it's going to rot pretty quickly, and it should. If it doesn't, then you've got a problem. So I love that. We can literally, Rick wants to make a sandwich. We just go out there and pick a piece of lettuce off the tower garden, put it on the sandwich. We don't have to buy a whole head of lettuce, and end up throwing half of it away because it rots in the refrigerator. So, it just saves me a lot of time. It saves me tons of money on produce that I'm not, having to throw away, basically. And then just knowing that we're getting really good nutrition, we're getting bang for our buck, that we're getting all these nutrients that these plants are eating, they're eating all their good nutrients, right, in the tower tonic. And then we're eating the really good, healthy plants, literally vine ripened right off the tower garden. So farm to table, and nothing tastes better. I love to share this story about when I first got the tower garden, because again, I didn't know really much about gardening as far as like rotating crops and those sort of things. So I was really excited to grow lettuce because, we ate a lot of salads and we're trying to eat more salads. And so I planted a tower pretty much just full of lettuce all at the same time. And I ended up, of course, with a boatload of lettuce all at the same time. So we were eating lots and lots of salads, and they were amazing, taste delicious, all varieties of lettuce I was growing. And of course, then what happened is that, kind of all got done at the same time. Usually, 2 to 3 months of lettuce, then it kind of starts getting a little bit bitter. So then I didn't have any lettuce on my tower gardens. I was like replanting new crops on there. So I had to go to the grocery store and buy some store-bought lettuce like I had always done before. And I bought the lettuce and made a salad, didn't even think anything of it. And Rick asked me, "Is this from the tower garden, this lettuce?" I was like, "No, why?" And he's like, "You can taste the chemicals in it." And it was organic lettuce, you guys. But he could taste the difference, just even in maybe the water, I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, but he could taste the chemical difference. And then I tasted it and I'm like, wow, it really did taste different. So again, growing your own is such a huge difference in the taste and the quality. And I love that, like I said earlier about, how much money I saved just with growing with a tower garden. Tower gardens are super affordable, you guys. I mean, they pay for themselves in like very little time. They're made to last. By the way, they're UV protected, and it's food grade plastic. So people ask because it looks like PVC pipe. It's not PVC pipe. PVC pipe. It's UV grade, food grade plastic. So that's really important. So they're made to last a really long time, and not, obviously, we don't want any chemicals leaching into our water. That would be just awful. So but yeah, we keep it really affordable. So it's affordable, it's convenient. Like I said, I have one in my kitchen. I have a couple outdoors. It doesn't get much easier than that. I don't have to drive to the store when I need some lettuce or I need an herb. Herbs, my goodness, you guys, I don't know last time if you bought herbs in the store, but they're expensive. And you tend to, you might need a tablespoon of, whatever it is, but yet you got to buy this big bunch of it. And then what are you going to do with the rest of it? I, unfortunately, most of the time ends up rotting in my refrigerator. I think I'm going to do something with it and I never do. So I love that, if I just need some cilantro for a recipe or some parsley or some rosemary, whatever it is, I can just go pinch what I need off the tower garden and it's fresh. And then, I'm not throwing away all this stuff. So it's very affordable and very, very, very convenient. And tower gardens are fun. I was scared at first, but they were fun, right? So once I kind of like figured it out, I'm like, these are really cool. And if you have a family, if you have kids or grandkids, and I have grandbabies now, I love that my granddaughter was able to help me, grow seeds. I mean, kids get to grow from seed. They're gonna plant it in a little tray and they get to watch it grow, and you put it in the tower garden and then they get to eat it. Kids will eat what they grow. They're invested in it, and it's teaching them patience. Because my granddaughter, she was so excited about that first strawberry that came out. She had to wait and wait and wait because she kept wanting to eat it. It wasn't quite red yet. But it taught her patience and just really where food comes from. A lot of times kids don't even know. They don't know about farming. They just know that food comes from a grocery store. So when they can grow their own and they're invested in it, they're going to eat it. And that's really exciting for me to see kids eating more veggies, right? That's awesome. And it's just kind of, they're beautiful, you guys. They sound lovely because they got water running. It's like a nice little water feature on my patio when they're running. It's kind of a conversation starter because people are like, what is this thing you got growing on here? My one in my house has got the lights on it. So sometimes people drive by and like, well, what's the light in your house? What's that all about? So super fun. And then, okay, so what can you grow in a tower garden? Pretty much anything, you guys. You can grow anything that grows above ground. So you're obviously not going to grow any root vegetables. So no carrots or potatoes, anything like that. By the way, if you are growing things that are eating things that are growing in the ground, make sure you're getting organic, right? Because of our soil contamination is a really big problem. And you're also not going to grow things like corn, things that have like a big heavy stalk to it or something, grapes or whatever, for example. So, but like all of your greens, your herbs, your tomatoes, strawberries, peas. Oh my gosh, I did baby watermelons last summer, spaghetti squash, cucumbers, zucchinis, all these great things. You can even do some edible flowers if you want to like make it look pretty and eat it. If you're calling in, you're not gonna be able to see this, but there's a picture of a gentleman in New York that owns a restaurant in New York, and he actually has several tower gardens on his rooftop of where his restaurant's at. And he was commenting on a report that he did on ABC that, basically what happens is, he's got this really amazing restaurant in New York, but he could not get fresh herbs by the time he got them there, right? First of all, they were picked and, how early, right? And then they were, just sitting around or whatever. And then by the time he gets them, there's like no flavor to them or they were rotting really fast. So now he can just literally go to his rooftop, pick what he needs, and bring it down to his restaurant every day. So it doesn't get any fresher than that. I think that's super cool. And we're just seeing them popping up in so many places, like I said before, like, you know, from the O'Hare Airport to schools to restaurants and things like that. So I love that. And this is a picture of my tower gardens. So I'm growing, like I said, I'm growing indoors. So you'll see that picture on the right. That's my indoor tower garden. And then I have tower gardens outdoors. And you can kind of see the different sizes. So I have the little basic tower on the left, and then on the left and the right, and then in the middle is your one with the extension. So I wanted you to be able to see the difference in height on that. But yeah, I just love them. And literally my indoor one sits right in between my refrigerator and my dining room table. And so you can kind of see some of the things I'm growing. I'm just getting ready to, actually I got one of my tower gardens soaking right now, cleaning them and getting them ready for fall plants. So I try to do that, you know, twice a year. Just take them apart, clean them out really good, and give them some, you know, fresh water, and give them, you know, fresh nutrients, and get them all, you know, ready with some new baby plants. So super, super exciting. But I love, you know, I love the indoor one for my greens, my herbs, like I said, and I love that convenience of being right next to my refrigerator when I'm making my smoothies. But then I love having all my tomatoes and things like that growing outside, and it's literally right on my patio. You can see that, you know, from the picture, so it's super fun. And then, you know, what does a tower garden cost? I mean, that to me, I think is really cool. And I love that our company president, Jay Martin, he's always said, you know, all of our Juice Plus products are all going to be cheaper than a cup of coffee. And he's very adamant about that. And I really appreciate that, because it makes it affordable for all families. And I think that's really important. So, you know, a basic tower, which holds 20 vegetables, you guys, 20 vegetables, it starts at $5.25 plus tax and shipping, depending on where you're at. But what's beautiful is that, you know, you can pay in full if you want, but the company has also offered, and which they do for all of our products, interest-free installment payments. Just, you know, it's automatic deduction out of your checking, or, you know, your credit card, whatever you want to set up there. But it's 12 interest-free installments of just $45 plus whatever your tax is, of course. But so basically like $45 a month to grow 20 vegetables and herbs. And you think about that, if you break that down even to a daily, it's less than $1.50 a day for 20 veggies. I just bought a salad the other day, and it was like $10, and it really wasn't all that, you know what I'm saying? So I love, you know, like my kids, for example, they were going to a farmer's market and spending like $20 every weekend, probably over $20 every weekend, just on some fresh local produce. And now, you know, gosh, they can have a tower garden, and it's $45 a month. It's half the price. So they're already saving money, and they don't have to go to the farmer's market, right, you know, to buy that particular stuff. So they're able to grow it right on their patio, you know, in their apartment or their condos. So I think that's pretty awesome. And then I'm just going to finish up with just inviting you to take a look at what we're up to. We are really looking to partner up with people that really want to join our Healthy Living Revolution. This was a campaign that was just announced at our recent conference. You know, we've always been about inspiring healthy living around the world. And that's always going to be what we're about. But really, we want to really start a revolution, because I think we need to step it up a notch from just inspiring, but we need to like get action going. So we really started this new campaign. It's going to be really kind of launching here in the next month, but I'm jumping on this because I think it's super exciting. Is we got to start this revolution. We've got to take back control of our health, our own health. So, you know, focusing on self-care instead of the healthcare system, taking some responsibility in our own health and responsibility over our food supply. So between Juice Plus, you know, products, the capsules, our soft gummies that we have, you know, soft chews, the shakes, the Tower Garden, you know, you're going to be flooding your body and your family's body with good whole food nutrition. And we need your help to spread that word. So we would really appreciate you taking time to, you know, learn a little bit more about what we're doing and see if it's fit for you. We would love for you to join us in this revolution and help your friends and family get healthy at the same time. And I just want to thank you guys all so much for coming on today and taking the time to learn more about Tower Gardens, more about Juice Plus. Please get with me or the person that invited you to this call today to learn more about how you can help your family be healthier and be a part of our revolution. Thanks you guys so much. Have a great day.